Good day, everyone. Today we are going to discuss the summary of the different philosophical perspective on art. So the first philosophical perspective that we are going to discuss is Plato. According to Plato, artists are just imitators, and art is just an imitation. The things in this world are only copies of the original, the external and the true eternities that can only be found in the world of forms. So for Plato, imitators, art is just an imitation. It's an imitation of the reality. So they are actually not true. So for Plato, he is more into idealistic, or he's more into idealism. When we say idealism, everything that exists in the minds is the only true form, and outside the mind is not true. According to him, so the theory of forms or the theory of ideas is Plato's argument that non-physical form or beyond the ideas represents the most accurate reality. In the theory of forms or the theory of ideas, the non-physical forms or the ideas that we are actually talking is the only true. And everything that we see outside our mind, outside the idea itself, is not true. So they represent the most accurate reality. So the form, what is a form? It is an objective blueprint of perfection. The forms are perfect example because they are unchanging. For example, say we have a triangle drawn on a blackboard. A triangle is a polygon with three sides. The triangle as it is on the blackboard is far from the perfect because everything around us is not perfect. It's only a creation of our imitation. But the form is a triangle is a polygon with three sides. And everything, for example, we write or we draw a triangle. We cannot say that the triangle that we draw is actually equal on all its sides, on its all sides. However, it is only the intelligibility of the form, the triangle, that allows us to know that the showing on the chalkboard is a triangle, and the form triangle is perfect and unchanging. It is exactly the same whenever anyone chooses to consider it. So the idea that the triangle is a three-sided polygon is not changing. But the sides of a triangle, when it is being drawn in the real world, is changing. So that is the idea of Plato. So Plato was deeply suspicious of arts and artists for two reasons. So Plato has two suspicions. First, they appeal to the emotion rather than to the rational faculty of men. They imitate rather than to lead one to reality. For Plato, because he was idealistic in nature, he sees art as an imitation because we only try to imitate, or the artists on their time was actually trying to impress the masses. That's why the art pieces or the work of art during those times are very aesthetic in nature, and sometimes they are beyond the reality, or they change the view on the reality, which is misleading according to Plato. Another one is they appeal to the emotion rather than to the rational faculty of man. For Plato, a man should be rational in nature. Everything should have reasons, ideally. But in art, we sometimes do not go with the reality because we appeal to the emotion. We try to symbolize something. We try to give or associate a certain emotion on the art pieces and on the process of creating the art pieces. So these are the two reasons why Plato was deeply suspicious of arts and artists. Let's now move to Socrates. So just like Plato, he claimed that art is just an imitation of imitation. For Plato, art is dangerous because it provides a petty replacement for the real entities that can only be attained through reason. So for Plato, it only provides a petty replacement. So an imitation from the real world is being imitated, and the imitation that was created from the original is being imitated and presented in another perspective. So that's why these two does not agree that art, because for them art is dangerous. For Plato, art is dangerous because it provides a petty replacement. It's better to have original than to have a replacement. That is according to Plato. For Socrates, The Plato's most important student in philosophy agreed with his teacher that art is a form of imitation. However, in contrast to his teacher's discuss, Aristotle conceived of art as a representing possible version of reality. So for Socrates, he is not disgusted that art is as an imitation. Rather, for Socrates, art is another version of a possible reality. Because the reality that we see today may be different from the other's perspective. As discussed on the previous chapters, every individual is unique with their cognitive structure, with their perception and experiences, thus resulting to different interpretation. There is no set standard of aesthetic beauty. There is no set standard of the standard in evaluating or percepting ideas and emotions. So for him, all kind of art do not aim to represent reality, but to provide a vision of what might be or many possibilities in the reality. So those are the possible realities that others failed to see. Or it is a vision for a better society. Let's now move to the next philosopher, which is Immanuel Kant. So according to him, art as a disintegrated judgment. Immanuel Kant considered the judgment of beauty the cornerstone of art, as something that can be universal despite its subjectivity. And therefore, art is innately autonomous from specific interests. Every human being, after perception and the free play to his faculties, should recognize the beauty that it is inherent in a work of art. This is the kind of universality that a judgment of beauty is assumed by Kant to have. So for him, art is a disinterested judgment. Every human being, after perception and the free play of his faculties, should recognize the beauty. So for him, there's a universality in the evaluating or analyzing the work of art. Let's now move to Leo Tolstoy. So for him, art as a communication of emotion. Art places a huge part in communication to its audience emotions that the artist previously experienced. Tolstoy is fighting for the social dimension of art. This means that art serves as a mechanism of cohesion for everyone. So for Leo Tolstoy, an art itself is a social dimension. It serves as a mechanism of cohesion. So meaning of cohesion, something that initiates, something that triggers. So that is art as a communication of emotion. Thank you for listening for the different philosophical perspective of art. Again, good day and God bless.